on Seeking Alpha to discuss some of the things that we have with earnings. There we go. I got my comments open on YouTube so I can see anything that you guys would have to say. If you just want to say good morning in the comments, or if there's any tickers for any stocks that you would like to see, you just need to let me know. And we can certainly take a look at them. I want to kick things off today with Palantir. Palantir had some pretty good earnings coming out for them. And there's some really neat things to watch. So in the pre-market here, I have the 10-minute chart up. Let me go down to the 5-minute. We're about 10 minutes away from the market open, and you can see the volume spike that we had when the earnings beat came out. So 8 to 8:05 is when we see those earnings come out, and you can start to see that excitement that comes right along with it. And why we have this top line, you can actually see the blue line I have drawn across here. I think I drew that a few weeks ago, saying that that's our next area of resistance. And right now in the pre-market hours, we're trading right around resistance level. So we see if the market opens, if we'll get some profit taking in there, or if this is really going to start, really kick off as the market opens. Right now, we have a huge order in at 24.50 for putting up some big sell side pressure. But that could still be something pre-market noise, because until it actually goes through, it's not necessarily that order. So that's just something to watch. That could be something that's melted away over time. But you get some of that sometimes during the pre-market hours. And we'll see how much of that gets melted away. And we'll see if the rest of the market bias is there to really propel this thing upward today. Good morning, Vladin. Good to have you. All right. So let me see. Over here, I have Seeking Alpha open. Let me zoom in. Palantir stock climbs after Q2 beats, raised full-year outlook. So this is one that I've mentioned for a while now that I'm bullish on, that I have position in. And so just as long as that's disclosed as I go along and talk about it, and saying that their business is growing. They changed up their business model to lower the barrier for entry for other companies, and it's been working out for them so far. So we look here, the revenue increased 49% year over year to 375 million. So excellent there, especially because there's talk from some of the critics for Palantir's as a company that they are an old company, that they've been around for a long time, and that they're an established company, so that they don't really have that sort of room for growth. But I think that may have been true earlier on, but I think there's two big things that we have to look at. One is that the technology has improved vastly, and they've innovated and leveraged those increases in technology over time. So even though the company might be something that's a little bit older, that whole innovate or die, they're innovating. They're certainly not dying. Instead, they're growing. We see that revenue increase there. And then let me see. Also, there's your adjusted earnings, 4 cents per share, beat consensus by 1 cent, so 0.3 cents. 3 cents was expected. So then they talk about the deals they have closing, 62 of them $1 million or more, and then also some for over 5 million, some for over 10 million. Here's when it starts to get pretty good. We got cash flow from operation total 23 million with adjusted free cash flow. And free cash flow is one of the important places that you have, because if the company doesn't have that free cash flow, then they don't have decisions that they can make with what to do with that money. By having that free cash flow there, they can actually gives them the power to decide where to invest it next in order to help continue to grow their business. So that's something that we should most definitely not discount when we look at this. Also, it says for the third quarter, sales are expected to come around 385 million. So a little bit bigger over where it was at before, above the 380 million consensus. And then here's where it's really cool. The company raises its full year free cash flow outlook from 150 million to 300 million. So doubling where they were at before. So for the year, having almost $250 million to invest and grow their company. Usually with growth plays like this, with the smaller companies, you don't get a dividend because instead of paying it out to the shareholders, instead they use that money instead of paying it back out to the shareholders, they use it to grow their business instead. And growing their business should help something that helps fill out that multiple that we have, reduce it over time, or allows them to grow as a company in a way that it makes it more reasonable and come into some of that fundamental value that we see with companies like Palantir. Also, this is huge too. Annual revenue growth is still expected at 30% or greater between 2021 through 2025. So still putting out those double-digit growth numbers, and the compounding that we'll get from that 30% growth between 2021 and 2025 should be pretty enormous for us for Palantir moving forward. And I hope that as they continue to develop and grow, that they keep on filling out those numbers and start even pushing them higher than they are right now. All right. Good morning, Pyro. Good morning, Sean. Yeah, Clover Health. I would guess I didn't look into them as much because I don't track them, but I know that they also had positive earnings going for them. And this is one that for a while now. Two YouTubers that I think of that have talked about Clover Health. One would be Dead Inside, and the other one would be Meet Kevin. I know that they would follow more closely, and that they couldn't understand why the stock was as undervalued as it was. And I think that this is the one that had the lawsuit against them, and pending that lawsuit, that if that did end up falling through in Clover Health's favor, that'd be something that that would pan out for them. And you can see the ratings on this are bearish for both of them. There's one that's neutral, and then there's some very bearish cases recently. And then we have the results. And like I said, I don't track this one, so I didn't really look too closely at the results. But here we'll go ahead and take a look. Yeah, Vlad, and I hope so too. So finally sustaining the gains. I think that it's going to be one that's it's going to have the doubters, and it's going to have some headwinds along the way. But as long as they keep on again and again putting up the big numbers, Palantir that is, I think they will be in good shape. So let's see what Clover Health has here. So net loss of 317 million, revenue 412 million. Okay, total lives under Clover management quarter 129,000 increase. Okay, good. Medicare Advantage membership, direct contracting lives. Okay, cash and cash equivalents and investment 630 million. So good. So where was their loss at? So their loss was 317 million. And then they have cash equivalents, and investment only 630 million as of June 30th, 2021. So it looks like they have some decent growth numbers here. I wonder when we look at their cash burn rate, having that 630 million, that means that without bringing in any other money, it looks like with what's lost here, that 317 million, that they could survive like 2 more quarters on what they have. So being a smaller company and still putting up those losses, if it is a growth company, if it is one that has potential, then within the next 2 to 3 to maybe even 4 years, we should expect profitability, or they should expect profitability. If not, the farther that carries out, to wait for them to be profitable, the riskier it is, because it really inflation can take rate over that time. And really, even if it's normal inflation, it still diminishes the results that we get based off those numbers, because when those numbers are calculated, they're calculated in present value dollars, not in future value dollars that are adjusted for inflation. So it becomes more of an uphill battle the more that they project out. So I don't know that much about Clover Health, but I would look at their investor report, or that gives them the shiniest, best case scenario that they like to put forward, and see when they believe that they'll be profitable on this. And it could be one that has some potential to it. All right, where are we at time wise? So 9:27. I want to make sure I don't miss the open. All right. So yeah, let's take a look at the price action. So Palantir, you can see nice little pennant formation or flag formation, and then we had another boost up, and now we have another flag here. I wouldn't be surprised if we got some profit taking. Let's go out to the daily chart to see where our support levels are. So like I said, I've had these drawn for a while now, at least since whenever this double peak happened, but I feel like it was somewhere in the maybe in the middle of this where I started talking about support and resistance. So right now in the pre-market, we're trading around, right now it says 24.36 up here, and I have this resistance line drawn in at 24.41, and that takes us up above the 200-day moving average that I have here, and also puts us up above the 50. So that is a very bullish thing. If we sustain price levels above that, so that takes us up in moving averages as resistance, and so they can become support, and should help us sustain those higher prices. Also, take a look at the RSI that we have here, slowly clawing its way out of the bearish territory. Today, we should see it pop up above 50 and then go into the bullish territory. And it looks like, let me zoom out a little bit more. The next line I have is at 26.05. So if this thing puts on another $1.50 from where it's at in the pre-market, bumps up against resistance, that can put us in pretty good shape, and then it can range bind us for at least a little while in between the 24 to 26, 24.40 to 26.05 or whatever that I have right in here. I would be surprised and astounded to see if it should break a second resistance line up here, or a third if you count the moving averages, because it starts to get harder and harder to do that. I mean, these are really good earnings, and we finally start to see some of that price action come back. But being around the mid-20s, I think, is about right now for Palantir, not taking into account more of their future fundamental value. When we start to get into those high 20s, we start to see only at the richest of times did we trade up into those high 20s numbers. So as they continue to grow, and I mean, we have some really good results to this, I think that it'll keep those lows lower. So I don't know that we'll revisit low 20s anytime soon. I think this is something that can more solidly put us in the mid 20s for their price action moving forward. So there we got the market open. We got our first candle, and there it's bumping up. Opens right at resistance, gives us a little bit of a drop, and the level 2 is going to be probably pretty crazy on this because it's probably going to be pretty hotly traded after those earnings results. You're going to have profit taking. You're going to have people who want their entries in this. Right now, it's sticking right around the high 8s for percents, up from yesterday's close. Let me see, 24. Like I can see 24.39. Whoa, that's a lot of sell side orders that just popped up in there in the 24.30s, and we got support coming in the low 24s. So pushing us up above resistance. I mean, we already broke the moving averages. So pushing us up above this would be incredible. So pushing us up above the 26s would be absolutely astounding. So we'll see as this plays out if that's something that we break, or if we just peekaboo at, or if we tiptoe on, or if this is going to act as resistance. Let's take a look at Clover Health. There we go. One more. There we go. So up a little over 18%, and wow. So they're pushing on the mid 9s right now, and they actually had a nice basis to put support established just under $8 per share. So so mid to high 7s, even up to that $8 mark. And today opening up, where's the open? The open was at 9.51. And I don't have lines drawn on this one, but it looks like we're close to even with what's here. So the high here was 9.45, and right now, where are we trading? We're trading at 9.64. So we're up over that. The moving averages on this one could act as our next area of resistance. So that'd be another $1 up from where it's at now, but that would be another 10% up from where it's at now as well. Let's look a little bit farther left if we can. All right. So as we look left at what else we have, nearly all other lines that we see are already much higher. So we have room today and over the next few days up to those moving averages. You can see the 200-day started sloping negatively. The 50-day is kind of flat, sort of kind of going positive a little bit. And it's nice to see that consolidation time that we saw in there establishing that base of support. So at least we know a little bit more about where our risk could go. And that's prior to the earnings announcement that we got. So we'll see if this is something that that continues to hold, if we're still going to have decently firm resistance here around the mid 940s or so. Lots of buy side support coming in. The sell side pressure isn't currently on screen right now. So where are we at? $9 even. So that round number support that we have, we could keep up above, or just if we go down below $9, that could be something that would just be a momentary, just a wick of the candle, and the close would still end up for whichever, in this case, the daily candle that we have. That could hold, but it is only the first 3 minutes of the market. So that'll be something to watch. Lordstown, not one that I really followed too closely. I took advantage of a swing trade with them a while back when their price dropped out, and they've since then really dropped off to under $6 per share. Where are we at here? So high 5s, so like 5.75-ish, and now big drop yesterday, and then earnings come in today, and you know, it is a significant jump, being up how much? Over 11%, between 11 and 12% up since yesterday's close. Position-wise, though, we're still relatively in the same place where we were at before. That's not enough yet to bring in a trend reversal. So that's something that we want to watch out. Let me see. Jacob brings up Open Door. Heck yeah. Open Door is rocking. That's another one that we're looking at. Where's PLTR? They're still sitting at 8%. Type in open here. This is another company that I'm bullish on that faces some headwinds. They got a sort of a negative perspective put on them coming out of 2020 because of their inventory. Their inventory shrunk greatly. There's also profit margins to worry about what it will take for Open Door or when it will be that they become profitable, and how much they're able to really innovate within the real estate space to really simplify the selling process and simplify the buying process, and also what it costs them in the meantime. So, and also making it into other markets throughout the country. The numbers kind of escaping me right now. I feel like they're up over 20 different markets throughout the United States. So right now it's not even like super broad coverage yet. But if they're able to keep on growing, and if they're able to keep moving people in and really take on Zillow, because Zillow is going to be some serious competition for them overall. That's going to be the big hurdle. Now, mind you, the pie is big enough for Zillow and Open Door to coexist. So it'd just be competition, but they would both have at least some place in their own space. So I believe that this was an earnings one for Open Door. Let me see. Open Door feeling at home in the iBuyer industry. iBuying is supposed to be huge over the next 5 to 10 years. Why Open Door shares trading higher? Let me see. Okay, yeah, let's take a look at this on Seeking Alpha. All right. What else we got? Hello, Poppy. All right. So Jacob, we're going to keep looking at Open, and then hello, Taco, and then we'll take a look at IEC Pyro. All right. So Open Door Technologies, and let me see. We don't want the earnings call transcript. There you go. I also want to check out the Q3 guidance, because that can be huge going forward. So Open Door Technologies. So this is only December was kind of a rough thing to report for Open Door Technologies. We're only 6 months as of this report. So the end of June from that time. So watching them rotate out of that, seeing how well they persevere coming out of the supply shortage that they had for, or the inventory shortage, I should call it, for homes that were on their platform, or I don't know what you want to call it, but that they had for sale that you could actually go and check them out. If they don't really have any inventory, nobody's going to go to look to see what's there, which means people won't bother. I guess it won't, no sense having sellers if you don't have buyers. I need to have another sip of coffee here. My goodness. All right, so Q2 GAAP EPS of minus 24 cents, beats by 10 cents. That's excellent. Revenue, 1.2 billion. All right, not too bad there. Up 59% quarter over quarter. That's huge. Let me see. Shares up. Let me see. Expanded 39 markets with 12 new market launches. So I said 21 markets. They're into 30. They're in 39 markets now. So I was off by 6. So they were in 27 markets at the end of the first quarter. Now they're in up to 39 markets. So watching that market expansion means that they're able to have access to more inventory, which means they're also able to sell more of that inventory as well. Purchased over 8,000 homes, up 136% versus Q1, so they more than doubled that. Inventory balance up to 2.7 billion. Excellent. Huge. So over tripling what they had in the first quarter, and ended the quarter with contracts to acquire over 8,000 homes, representing a $3 billion in value. Cool. And outlook third quarter revenue guidance 1.8. Oh, wow. So where's their inventory, their revenue that was up here? So their revenue was 1.2 billion, and they're expecting to go up. So half of 1.2 billion is 0.6 billion. So they're expecting to go up another 50% in revenue for the third quarter from where they were at in the second quarter. So even though that's a smaller, like it was 59% quarter over quarter, that means for the Q3, they expected to be 50% quarter over quarter. But to go 59% up is huge, and then go to another 50% on top of that, that's huge as well. So there's still lots of growth ahead of them. And then adjusted EBITDA for this one, guidance 15 to 25 million. Did they mention what that was for Q2? All right. So what I'm interested in is the Q3 guidance that we'd have for their earnings per share. This isn't so bad. So I do want to take some time, probably not right now during the live stream, but I do want to look into that more and see what else we have going on there. Let's take a look at the chart for open. So up almost 17%, and it does not put them up over resistance here in, let me see, about $18 per share. So that's a nice round number resist that we have also across the tops of these. They are up above the 50-day. So that's one area of resistance broken. So breaking another one on top of that could be a little bit troublesome. There we go. However, that's a huge percent up for the day. The markets, by the way, Dow is about even. S&P is down about 0.15, and NASDAQ's double that, down about 0.34. All right. So the NASDAQ being down isn't necessarily the best of news that you have for this. So that could be some of that downward pressure that we see. However, that huge gap up that we have being up over 16% for the day, I would call incredible. And I do feel like these prices that we saw down here were most definitely oversold prices, not necessarily by the RSI, but ones where they were just a little bit too low for where it should be at. Prior to those earnings, I would say that 15 was about right. So seeing it under 15, especially under 14, really starts to get to be a pretty good deal for this. RSI started climbing out of the, let me see, they didn't quite reach oversold territory, just definitely on the bearish side. And then they started climbing out of that. And finally, today with that big jump, we step into bullish territory. Let's see what else we got. Oh yeah, I said I would check out IEC from Pyro. I keep trying to scroll up on your screen on my phone. Is it working, Sean? Can you scroll up on my video? I'm guilty of the same thing. I've already taken screenshots of my phone screen and then tried to interact with the things on the screenshot, and it just doesn't work. All right. Woo! Look at that. Thank you, Pyro. It's always fun to look at charts like this one. That I want to zoom out to see more of the volume spikes and stuff that we have over time for this. Let's go out to the weekly chart. I want to see a little bit more. There we go. All right, so it looks like the excitement kicking off back in 2018, and this is a nice looking chart up through there. It looks like it got a little bit peaky there in the middle, and today we get that big old spike. Let's go back to the daily chart. All right, so in the daily chart, where are we sitting? We are sitting at 930,000. So relatively speaking to some of the other big volume spikes that we have, not huge, but compared to their typical volume, which looks like it's in the tens of thousands, and not even really in the hundreds of thousands by any means. And we have a couple back in there. They really bottomed out over time. So this is a huge sell-off, and then something has them jumping today with that huge purchase. So let's see. So 1675, so we're getting close to that 12-month, that one analyst estimate put out. News on this one. All right, so earnings. Third quarter sales of 49.4 million. Earnings per share, 9 cents. Good, good. There we go. So they had a 21-cent estimate, and they missed. And they also missed on sales. Huh. Yeah, this is going to be one that I'm going to have to read about to find out why it's jumping the way that it is. But that's right there. It's an acquisition. Okay. So I was wondering when they missed and moved up anyway, but if they're going to be acquired and we have a price that they're going to be acquired, so $15.35 a share, and right now they're trading for $15.26. That would mean that the value is out of this for the moment. So yeah, hopefully, I hope anybody who was in this before, especially if they were in at these lower prices that were down here and made that 50% gain. Up to the price that is currently sitting at. So 46.59, it says. So closer to 46 or 47% gain. Still, if you were in at those prices, if this is one or even back here, congratulations. As of getting in now, I would not get in now because I wouldn't see any return on my money except for maybe if they were acquired by another publicly traded company. that I could invest in that also saw some growth there. So there you go. Nice. All right. No problem, Jacob. So I don't know this company, so I'll talk about it through Golden Nugget, since they're ones who are going to be acquired by DraftKings. So for Golden Nugget was one that I already had a position in, and I was bullish on GNOG. It was higher risk, but it also stood a chance to possibly 2x, so it was also higher reward. DraftKings also bullish on, doesn't have that same, at least within the next 12 months, I don't believe DraftKings have that 2x potential. Perhaps more like a 40% potential up from where it currently sits. That would be something I think be a little bit more reasonable. But now we have Golden Nugget also tied to DraftKings as well. So through that acquisition, they're going to run up almost 1/3 the price of what DraftKings is. So it's 0.365 shares of DraftKings for every 1 share of Golden Nugget Online Gaming. So it works out to be, I think, like 2 3/4 shares of GNOG to 1 share of DraftKings. So if you want that conversion, there it is. So if you take this price that we have right now of 18.73 and you multiply it by 2.75, here I'll tell you what it comes out to in case you don't have your own calculator handy. So 18.72 times oops, there you go. 72 times 2.75. There we go. I'll hold it up to the screen there. Maybe you can see it. It says 51.48. And if we look at DraftKings price, we should be right around there. But we are currently running at 51.82. So now, mind you, that 2.75 is actually just a very slight overestimate. It's actually 2.74 something, but it gets you close enough to get you in that ballpark. So if you want to know what GNOG's price is going to do, you just look at what DraftKings price is doing, and that should be a little bit more telling. We've climbed up significantly, and you can see how well the 200-day on DraftKings is acting as resistance, which right now is about $53 per share. And I think that DraftKings is going to keep on squeezing up on that, and I think it's going to start pushing through it, especially as we get to the NFL season, which, let me think for a moment, I think will be the first regular NFL season after DraftKings has become a publicly traded company. So you can fact check me on that one, but I'm pretty sure that they were a SPAC back in early 2020, that they joined via SPAC that way. And so that would mean that the 2020 NFL season was not typical for them. And now finally 2021 should be a little bit more, I would think, a little bit closer to a regular NFL season. I realize that we're not already there. I realize that the Delta variant is something that's scaring a lot of people. However, I think that we are on the right track to working back to normalcy. And I think that's something that's really going to fill out well for DraftKings over time. And it'll be really neat to see the results of their acquisition of Golden Nugget moving forward. All right. So if you guys have more that you would like to see or talk about, just let me know. Otherwise, I'm going to switch over to some of the losers, and then I want to take a look at some of the crypto. So Fisker, wow, 8% drop. So they're back under the 50-day. So they're back to resistance there. They actually, this line that I had drawn in here, they broke through it for a while, and it sort of kind of acted like maybe, I'm going to call it tenuous support at best. Still, I think a lot of debate back and forth between the bulls and the bears on that. And today we have that drop, and it looks like we got a little bit of news. 30 stocks moving pre-market. Let me see. EO charging to combine with SPAC first reserve. Okay. Fisker unveils $600 million green convertible senior notes offer. Okay. So it sounds like they did a capital raise, so they dropped down in price a little bit. Fisker is selling convertible bonds. Why? That's bad for its stock. So you can read about that on Barron's if you want to. Barron's is usually pretty good at having a price wall. So they might give you 1 or 2 articles free, and then after that, they want you to pay a subscription in order to read some of their stuff. And while I think professional subscriptions and financial subscriptions are something that I do believe in, and for the right ones, I'll do it. Barron's is one that I don't have that yet. just to trade off for some of the other things that I do and some of the other ones that I use. Yeah. So for Fisker, who is now down 9%. So for people who are waiting for a position or waiting for a chance to add to their position, for those of you who would be bullish on it, today is a nice red day. Can't tell you to buy it. Can't tell you to sell it. Can't tell you what to do with it because I'm not licensed to give any financial advice whatsoever. I can just tell you what I would do. And for Fisker, if I was going to take a position on this one, which I don't currently have one, I totally meant to several times. I'm like, man, I should buy some Fisker. And whatever reason, I just haven't. I know one of the mitigating factors is that I have a lot of EV right now, and Fisker's pre-production, and I already have a spot or a position in Lucid. That's pretty strong. And so adding Fisker into that, I was like, well, I might have enough exposure. But what I could do is I could sell out some of my positions and rebalance a little bit, and then make some room to include in my portfolio as well, because I do think that they will do well over time. And I think that putting out quality vehicles for reasonable prices is something that really has, a good sound to it. I think that that's something that can be missing from the EV space. So if they are there to capitalize on that gap, I think that they would be good. So I think late 2022, so over a year from now, before they get to production. In the meantime, people who are already producing, are really capitalizing on that market. So the sooner that they can get out there, the better, so that they can get their foot in the door while the market is still young. Humble. All right. There we go. On the OTC markets. So up about 2% for the day, rocking about 88 cents. They even give us down to the 10,000ths of a dollar. I remember this one being talked about, and I remember watching it take this ride, and I was thinking about how incredible that was, because I did see some people that got back in when this was fractions of a cent, and even in just a couple cents. And then I hope that they took their profits when they saw this thing start going straight up like a wall. I hope that they did. And if they took that ride straight back down because they were hoping for more money, that can be a rough thing. So I don't really follow Humble. I just know of it a little bit. And I was happy for anybody who did manage to take their profits and really gained a lot from that increase. Looking at the chart, definitely in bearish territory. We've consolidated into boringness right now. And what I mean by that is that if you're going to find a stock early, and I'm not saying that Humble's the one, but if you're going to find a stock early and you want to be in on it before anything happens, you want to find it when it is boring. Because if you find it when it starts to get exciting, so for Humble, maybe that was back here, it started to get exciting, which then you saw it had some room to run. Or maybe it was up here, it started to get exciting, and then it had room to run. But if you find that excitement, the more times that jump happens, the more tired the bulls get, and they can't run forever. So being early in when you see it consolidating like this, when you see that price go out, if you buy now, it'd be off fundamental value, so future value for the company that they bring to the marketplace. It wouldn't be based off of, well, the stock's low. It hasn't been this low in a long time, and we're getting that basis support. It would be because there's some value beyond what it's currently trading at that you would see for it in the future. And it might be something you see before other people see it. And if you're lucky enough if you look around enough and you find those things early, that can really pan out for you in the long run. So analysts on this one, we don't have any, at least not reported here. It is pretty tiny from what I remember. 2.5 million in 2 new bridge round investments. Will retire is one. Okay. Announced a partnership with Gabby Thomas. Select athlete Gabby Thomas as a brand ambassador. That's all from over a month ago. Okay, so no news on that right now. I don't know if TipRanks is going to give us anything on this. Probably not, because we didn't really have anything in WEBULL there, but we'll take a look anyway. With the smaller companies, getting coverage is just a difficult thing. All right, currently no data available. We have some other things. I don't typically use a lot of this. We don't really have any data about insider buying or selling. Investors, let's see if we can get anything there. Okay, you can see not a lot held in portfolios. And then you can look and see what some of the analysts are doing here and the execution price for their trades, portfolio allocation. So I need to check my email today. I've been checking it every day for response from tip ranks. I put an application out there for an affiliate membership where I can get you guys the affiliate link. You would sign up as normal, just using my referral link, and then that would kick back a little bit to me for being one of those affiliates. So that's something I'm waiting to hear about. And if I do hear about it, I'll let you guys know. The other referral links are already down in the description. WEBULL, if you haven't signed up and you can get some stocks, some free stocks there using the referral link, signing up and making a deposit. Same thing for Moomoo, which also gives you access to foreign exchanges as well. And my Patreon is also down there. So I'm going to move along from that so we don't go on too much. No problem, Pyro. So something else, I've mentioned this before. So this is Twitter, and that's the Dr. Stock would be the Twitter handle that I have. I don't put a lot on here. I'm still working on my social media presence, but I do when I get time. I put up my videos and stuff, and I think I put up the referral link from Moomoo at one point in time here. And so a couple different things. Not why I came here though. So Humble, $, and then HMBL. Because it is smaller, sometimes you find that passionate following on Twitter. There's a lot of garbage to pick through all the time for anything that you search. And so I don't know how much you use Twitter. Some of you probably use it a whole lot more than I do. But when you take a look, sometimes you can find good resources, and then you have to go and fact check them yourself. But at least sometimes they can kind of put you on the trail of something early that the people who follow the really small companies, intently and passionately, sometimes they'll find things ahead of time that really help out. Like they'll point out some dates that are coming up, and then you can, confirm it with maybe the investor relations page for the actual company, whatever it is. So you can look through and kind of pick through the garbage that's on here. And sometimes you end up finding that diamond in the rough in the meantime. So, not all, there's going to be a lot of noise, but sometimes if you pick through it enough, you'll actually find scraps of good and useful information that put you on to early catalysts before a company should happen to make its big move. So for Mark here, 80 inches tall. Okay, maybe he's a really tall guy. Another 2-some million shares of Humble have been restricted. Outstanding shares now at 910 million. Mobile payments, ticketing, NFTs. NFTs could be good for them. That's a little bit early on that. Yeah, financial services and real estate. So I wonder if this is like a little cousin version of SoFi, a little bit with some of the fintech that it has going on. Yeah. So I'm not going to pick through it anymore, but just a little tip for looking around and trying to find early information on smaller companies. So Humble being one of those smaller companies where there's no analyst coverage and, not a lot of good news sources to find on it or anything. Sometimes you have, like I said, the people who are dedicated followers of an individual stock or maybe a few stocks that would be able to find that information out for you a little earlier. All right. Looks like Riot. Marathon Digital, it looks like they're down a little bit, whereas Polkadot's also down 5%, GBD's down 4%. So let's take a look at crypto. Hello, Trip Revoked. First time catching show live. And good morning to you too. And I haven't been to Niagara Falls in a long time. I'd absolutely love to go back. We were talking the past year actually about taking our daughters up to Niagara Falls. We had to get their passports though, so we could go to either side of it. Been to New York several times. Absolutely loved it. All right, Bitcoin. Yes. So looks like we fell back below the 200-day. So that's something that's not going to be positively viewed. I wouldn't worry, or I should say, still talking for myself, I'm not too worried about this drop down below the 200. While that can, if it closes below that, can act as resistance for us rather than support. So it's not the best sign that you see. But look at the run that it's taken recently. and we were able to really fill out that bullish flag or bullish pennant that I had there. It did break down below for a little bit before finally finishing that off. So not perfect, but still decent. And then where did we bump up against resistance? Right around $46,000 per token. So right now, dropping down below 44.4, almost to 44.5. As long as this doesn't retrace too far and swallow up too many of these candles, too many of these gains that we have, we're still in really good shape moving forward from that. So getting back down to like 38,000. Let me see. We'll calculate. So about 30,000 up to 46,000. So 16. Yeah. So 38,000 is right about the middle. So that's about where it looked visually, and number wise, that is about the middle. If we stay above 38,000 in the near future, we're in really good shape for continuing the bullish run that we have. If we start to dip below that, then things start to get pretty rough. We actually want to stay a little higher than that anyway. It'd be nice to stay above 40, that we get that round number support to be $40,000, and then bounce off of that and continue to run upward. That's if it should pull back that far. Now, mind you, thank you, Trip Revoked. I appreciate that. Yeah, hitting the like button absolutely does help the algorithm and up ranking, and then more people watch, and the more I have here, the more I can do this sort of thing. So moving on, if this bounces off as low as the 40,000, so it can go down another 10% from where it's at now, and I think that we find really good support right around that 40,000 mark, and then that would be good confirmation that it continues upward. If you haven't looked at the stock to flow model, and not that you can always look backwards. Apparently I hit the, there we go. Apparently I hit the caps lock. I've shown this one before. This will load up in just a second here. But so far the price that we see on the chart here for the stock to flow model. So the line is the model itself that we see going up through like a staircase, and it tracks Bitcoin halvings and everything. So right now with the color being this light green color that we have, tells us about the days to halving. So that puts us between 800 and 900 days until our next Bitcoin halving. And we're starting to make that curve back upward towards this model again in order to track it. And if you look at the dates, by August 15th, according to the model, this was supposed to be, again, according to the model, it's supposed to be around $82,000 per Bitcoin. And moving on from there, by the time we get to, let me see. My apologies. There we go. December, the 3rd of December, 2021, 83,000. So by the end of 2021, if we return and if the stock to flow model continues to be a decent model for Bitcoin's price action, then we're not quite doubling to get to here. We'd be missing, because 89,000 would be closer to doubling from its current price, but we're falling just a little bit short of doubling by the end of the year, should we happen to return to the stock to flow model that we have here. I don't know if it's going to continue to hold true, but if it does hold true, then we're in really good shape for that bullish movement on this next little run that we have here. And you can see the other dips that it's taken where it's come up and it's touched the model, or it's come back up, failed to for a little while before returning and really strongly rallying back up over. So this could be a rally that either falls short, or if it does pass through, it could touch or strongly pass through and really put in some serious price action. We do have the logarithmic scale over here when you look at it. So it's not a linear scale where you have even increments in between with the same distance. So from the bottom to the first line is about $1. And then from the first line to the second line is another $9 to $10 from there. So let me move along from that. All right, let's go back to the gainers and see where we have. There we go. One more time. All right, these aren't all the gainers, by the way. These are just the different companies that that people have asked me to look at, or different ones that I've looked at. So if there's something you want to see that's not here, just let me know and I'll toss it up there for you. Workhorse is up just a tiny little bit. They've been struggling recently. Ever since the contract fell through, it's been kind of nightmarish for their stock price. They need some orders and they need some deliveries. And really, I think scalability might be one of their issues that they have as well. So we'll have to watch for them over time. I thought I saw some news about a new truck design pilot program with USDA's Natural Resource Conference. Okay, not bad. So they definitely need contracts and entering into this pilot program with USDA, Natural Resource Conservation Service. This might be something worth reading to see if there is anything coming up. It's not too huge because we're actually pushing back to about even. We're not even up by 1% right now. For Workhorse's numbers, we're trading below $10. But forward thinking about these companies is what's going to allow you to find the deals and to take a long-term investment and really turn it into something that that grows enormously over time. Okay, that was also almost no. When they said brief, they weren't lying. That was almost no news at all. Okay, so that'll definitely be something to read about as well. What else we got here? All right, so let me take a look at a different watch list, see if there's anything else that I'm missing. Actually, coin market cap. There we go. We looked at Bitcoin, but we didn't look at Ethereum. Ethereum last I saw was rocking right around 3,000. It looks like it's still rocking right around 3,000. Okay, so 3,100. So Bitcoin had fallen down to mid 44s. Ethereum down to 31. I don't know that we significantly broke 3,200 yet for Ethereum. So that's still clearly acting as resistance for us. I have watched the burn up here in my screen. We'll get to that in a moment. I'll show you the milestone that we crossed over, and with the current price that we have right now, it's something that, well, depending on the price per token per ether that we have could really fill out. This is a really good looking chart right here. So if I wanted to look for something that I thought was going to break out in a bullish way anytime soon, it would look like this. This is just an incredibly long flagpole that we have here, followed by a bullish pennant that's skewed to the upside. So for me, I would say in the next few days, watching this break in a really meaningful way. Now, mind you, news can happen. News can happen, and it can cause the technicals to fail. But in light of not a lot of news or no negative news, or if we have a big positive news, we could see that strong break to the upside. And we have a lot of room. We've passed all this different resistance that we've had down here. And now the only resistance that we really get into, we start to get into where we started topping out. Well, if we look at the bottom of this, that's above the mid threes up to the low $4,000 range. So I think that we are on that next bull run, and this could retrace. This could pull back like, you know, for Bitcoin, it was 38,000. For Ethereum, about 1,800. So 12,000. So let me see, 600. So 2,400 would be that about that mid range. If we retrace all the way down to 2,400 and then bounce back up, reasonable. If we go down through 2,400, then, you know, that makes me wrong. That I think it's just going to turn back down. And this would be a really overstated bull trap. I just don't see that happening, though. I think if it does retrace at all, I don't think that we're going to pull back to 2,400. I think we'd pull back more likely to these tops that we have here on 28, maybe down to 26 before bouncing back up again and giving the bulls a chance to recover. However, this is just a very beautiful look. Look at that resist that we have, very strong, very even across the tops. And the bulls just aren't relenting. They aren't letting that sell side pressure come in and win it out. We had some profit taking, some selling that day, and then engulfed the very next day to bring it right back up to close. Where was that closing price? 31.60. So after this rest, if we see this keep on pushing up this way, that break up above 31.60, I think could happen in the near future. So we'll watch. We'll see if I'm right. And of course, the news that comes out can always change that. But from right now, where we currently stand, we could have enough of a rest time for the bulls where they can make that next run to those higher prices. All right. So that's Ethereum. And let me see, because I talked about Ethereum, I should talk about Polygon. Polygon, and also toss up Cardano out there. Oh, I'm jumping the gun one more time. I apologize for backtracking a little bit, but I did want to show you. Here's watch the burn, and we've crossed over 32,000 ETH burned since the IP 1559 hit on August the 5th at like 8:37 a.m. Eastern time. So today's the 12th. So we're just over exactly 1 week away from when EIP 1559 hit, when it went live on the main net, and we've passed. As I mentioned yesterday, I said that ETH passed over 50% burn rate, and that's burn versus issuance. We are beyond 50%. If you put these two in ratio to each other, we're over that halfway mark, and that's significant. So the other thing that's significant, and it's shown over here, if you look at the total burned, we know it's 32,000 ETH over that, but check it out. We've crossed over the $100 million mark in 1 week. That's $100 million worth of ETH that are gone. So to me, that's just incredible. So while there were like almost $200 million worth of ETH created or issued through rewards, over half of that has been burned off since that time. And to me, that's incredible to watch that much money just go up in smoke. All right. So Polygon, sitting at $1.31 right now. This is one that I felt got way oversold while the rest of the crypto market was putting downward pressure on it. And now that some of that pressure is coming off, it's finally starting to wake up and come back to life. And I think one of the big things that drove yesterday's prices were that the gas fees on the Ethereum network started to spike, and people were looking for ways to flee from those transaction prices that they were paying from those gas fees. And Polygon does that as a layer 2 solution to the Ethereum network, and brings about cheaper transaction fees, just fractions of what you would pay on Ethereum itself. And they advertise themselves as the Internet of Blockchain. The token for Polygon is MATIC, MATIC. And after yesterday's run, it's resting a little bit. We don't have over 50% retracement on this. So if it drops back down to like $1.25 or $1.27, that could tell us that we're going to continue this trend. If we stay up above that, then we can push on towards resistance, which doesn't happen for a while on Polygon. We have room up to like $1.60, $1.70 before we start to see some big resistance come our way. This has gone up over $2 per token. Zoom out a little bit so we can see a little bit more of it. There we go. I think up here was 260-ish, maybe a little more. Scroll up on my screen a little bit. There we go. High price on this one, $2.70 on the nose, and then peaked again. This high price, $2.43. And then it kind of went along with the rest of the crypto market there. It tanked. It actually went down. Where's that bottom? Bottomed out at 62 cents per token. I managed to get some around 70 cents per token. I also had some around 85. I had some in the 90s. So that ended up working out really well. I had very few that I purchased when it was around, I think $1.25 is when I put in my my initial position in Polygon. So I didn't get into it when it was really tiny and small, and would have had huge multiples from where I was at before. But I'm not upset about where I'm at either. I think I bought in at the right time, a time that I would feel comfortable doing. There's just too many question marks in the crypto space for me to feel comfortable putting my investment out for where I don't see the promise yet. With that in mind, let's go to Cardano. All right, it's 10:13, which means I've gone 13 minutes overtime. I always aim to end at 10 a.m. and I always end up going overtime. So everything from here on is just a little bit of bonus for you guys. And if you'd like to thank me, hit that like button. If you really want to thank me and thank yourselves, use those referral links. And if you want to be extra giving, you can hit me up at the Patreon that's over there, which is more of a premium service and gives you access to other features besides just the live streams that we have here. All right, so here's Cardano, and you can see his chart looks very similar to what we had for Polygon. Has about the same timing for the high prices. So Cardano spiked here. There we go. $2.47 per token. And then again, selling off with the crypto market, $1.88. And right now, we've actually hit pretty even with resistance from before. And we sort of have that same almost a day delay between what we saw on the Polygon chart and what we see with Cardano. And for them, the smart contracts are going to be revolutionary revolutionary to their own blockchain. So that should be coming out within the next few weeks. And watching those performance and that adoption take on, I believe that this is a decent Ethereum competitor. I don't think that I think Ethereum's just too big and it's moved too far along for Cardano to stand a chance as the Ethereum killer. Do I think it's going to go up into the thousands of dollars per token? No, because there's just a lot more. If you look at, let me see, I think they have it in here. Market cap right now is 56 billion, given its current price. Fully diluted market cap 78 billion. Do they have the tokens available? I mean, we could figure it out, but in the meantime, just talking about what we have here for Cardano by market cap sitting at 56 million. Let's go on and look at what Ethereum has. Ethereum's market cap is 360. So assuming that being 1/6 the size, going up 6x from where it's at right now, would put it around $10, $10.50 per token for Cardano. There we go, circulating supply. That's what I was looking for. So there are over 32 billion ADA as the circulating supply. And then Ethereum, there's only 117 million. So just because there's more Cardano, there's much more supply. So the demand is not going to be the same. It's not going to merit the same prices. It could, if you compare the market caps, if it was a comparison, and that could be something that could near what Ethereum does over time, especially as it continues to build out. All right, one final crypto I want to talk about. And like I said, if there's any crypto or tickers you guys want to see for the stocks or anything we would talk about, just let me know, and I'll do it. I'll be wrapping things up in like the next 5 minutes or so. Where's my friend Chainlink? There it is. All right, so Chainlink, the reason that I'm bullish on Chainlink is because it's the #1 oracle that's in the crypto space. So bringing real world data into the blockchain. And I think that there's just going to be an ever increasing market for that. And we have a similar chart to what we did for Polygon and what we had for Cardano. So let me see. Where's that high price back there? 26.45. And then 24.45, and then one more of 24.72. So it looks like $24 to $26 is where we find resistance, and then all the way up we have room up to $32. It looks like. Actually, right now we're actually a fairly strong area right now. If we stay above it, it's fairly strong support. If we go below it, it's fairly strong resistance. So we'll have to watch that. But we do have a decent amount of room, like I said, up to about over 26. We have room up to about $32 per token for Chainlink. All right. Oh, Neo, our friend. Let's go check him out. Look at that. Neo earnings were neutral. Here's what Wall Street is saying. We'll have to check that out. Neo's Q2 loss narrows, sales jump year over year. The sales are good. Q3 outlook is robust. Excellent. So Zacks doesn't sound like they're too negative on that. So watching how Neo's earnings are digested over time is going to be interesting. So down here, earnings per share, a 7-cent loss versus the 11-cent loss that was estimated. The sales 1.31 billion versus 1.28 billion estimate. So we had beats there. So where was the robust part? So if the Q3 outlook is robust, then I wonder what merits the drop that we have right here for Neo. All right. Yeah, I'm going to look in that. Let's go to Seeking Alpha real quick. Clicked on the advertisement, so I give a few cents to Google and a few cents to Seeking Alpha for clicking. Oh, actually, I guess it's taken from Seeking Alpha for clicking on it. All right, this will be popping up in just a moment. So Neo, if they're giving decent guidance moving forward, I'm using a multi-gesture touchpad, and instead of swiping down with 2 fingers, I just swipe to the left, I guess. And so it kicks back out. We'll be back in a moment. So in any case, if they have robust guidance moving forward from here, if they are going to continue their growth, and I already had the estimate, which is a little bit below what other people put out there, below what TipRanks puts out there. Certainly, I said $50 to $60 by the end of 2021. Right now, that price action isn't reflecting that sort of strength. However, because I am bullish, because I have a position, I'm not worried about the short-term volatility that we see. Really, I'm looking forward to see that they start to move towards their fundamentals and show results towards that fundamental strength that they have. So NEO's earnings per share beats by, okay. All right, so there we go. Non-GAAP EPS of loss of 3 cents, beats by 8. Okay. So these are generally accepted accounting principles when they say GAAP, and then non-GAAP would be that they're not generally accepted accounting principles. So GAAP, what that aims to do is sort of standardize the way that that the finances are reported. And when something doesn't fit that standard mold, it has to go into non-GAAP. And you'll see that from a lot of companies, and they'll report both of them. So sometimes, like when we talk about like skills, Roblox might be another example of what would be out there. You'll find that non-GAAP, and gambling stocks might also be another place to look because they have different things that are good measurements for their specific industry, but don't generalize to other industries as well. So let me see, and that's why these numbers are different. So revenue. Okay, it's up 127% year over year. So if they keep on putting up triple number beats like this over time as they mature as a company, the longer they can do that, of course, the better for us. Let me see. Guidance. Deliveries of vehicles, 25,000. So that's more than what they had before. And they actually do mention that. It was 21 to 22,000. And they did squeak in right in there. And through the chip shortage, that was something that came into question and caused a lot of FUD moving forward with their prices, and gave people a lot of opportunity for those who are bullish on the stock, representing an increase of approximately 88 to 104% from the same quarter of 2020, and an increase of approximately. So with NEO, they are so new to the delivery space for EVs that looking year over year is great, but we don't have enough years for it to be significant, especially at the low volumes that they put out in the first place. As they grow, they'll compound. So then it starts to become more meaningful. The quarter over quarter growth is something that I think as of right now is a little bit more impactful. That shows us how they're rotating. So an increase of approximately 5% to 14.2% from the second quarter of 2021. Good. So total revenues, let me see, US 1.38 billion. And 1.49 billion. There you go. Versus 1.42 billion consensus, representing an increase approximately. Okay, so they're still comparing to 2020, an increase. There we go, 5.5%, 14.4% for in the second quarter. We want to keep pushing on to this double-digit growth. So if they close up this range, if we give upward guidance throughout the third quarter. That's something that we want to watch for, is how they think that they're doing. We also want to watch those deliveries. So taking that quarter, breaking it up into 3 months. So they say 23 to 25,000. So on average, it's 24,000. So 8,000 vehicles per month. So 8,000 is an important number. So if we hit 8,000, we're on pace. If we fall below 8,000, we're off pace. If we strongly beat the 8,000 deliveries per month. And so September the 1st, by the way, would be the day to look for that, for the next number of deliveries that they have. Those would be important things to tell us how they're doing according to the guidance that they've given. And I think it would be in NEO's best interest to really smash through that 25,000 if they're able to. I don't know if it means extra spending, but I think for the shareholders and seeing that bullish price action, spending a little bit more to make it happen, especially early on in the markets, to make that happen would be a good thing. And I think NEO also had news about putting out a secondary brand. I don't remember the exact wording for it, but a secondary brand, but it would be cheaper vehicles. I read around 31,000 US dollars. So maybe trying to take part in a bigger market where there would be more buyers by putting out vehicles that have lower cost or lower price for them. All right. All right, Palantir. Let me see. So that's Neo. I think that we're in good shape. I don't think that if you're a long-term investor, I don't think that you should sweat this. Again, entertainment purposes only. Never any financial advice. But I'm totally not worried about the price that we have here. I think that we're going to see continued strength in 2022 is actually when Neo's expected to really catch its stride. So 2021, we want to see continued growth. 22 is when we will expect to see more rampant growth. And, that comes with the release of their next vehicle. I can't remember the name of it right now. Talking about a lot of things, talking about a lot of numbers. It just starts to scramble my brain. Let's wrap up with, we'll go to GNOG first for Taco, and then we'll backtrack to PLTR. There's GNOG at 1920, which means that DraftKings is probably also sitting pretty. There you go. So if you multiplied the 1920 or whatever, 1919 by 2.75, it'd probably put us in the 52 range like we're at. And again, look at DraftKings bumping up against resistance. So crossing over that, we get, how much room do we get? 54 maybe? 53. Yeah, still in resist area. What's that orange line at? There's too much stuff in my way. 53.10, I think that might say. Let's zoom out so we can look left. Okay, so we have room. If we break 53, we have room to $55, $56 per share for DraftKings moving forward. And you can see the lows are climbing on this. You can see the highs sort of tapering off on us just a little bit. This was actually nice to break that wedge that we were forming up before. And now we start to get more of a squeeze up on resistance, which is a good sign that we could break through resistance sometime soon. RSI is in really good position. We had some highs here that just put us into bullish territory, dropped not as low as it was before, and then new highs come in from that. So if this goes up to even another high, that's where we start seeing confirmation that our resistance can break sooner than later. So we also want to keep an eye on those volumes as well, because they have started tapering since this little run up here, but it has been trading sideways. So I think that we're in good shape for DraftKings in the near term. And I think long term, we're also in very good shape for DraftKings. Analyst estimate on this, $70 for the average analyst estimate from 26 analysts. And I think that acquisition that will close the GNOG in early 2022, Q1 of 2022, will be good things for them. All right, let's wrap it up with Palantir. So thank you, everyone, for attending. I really appreciate it. You can see these analyst estimates have been kind of low over time. I wouldn't be surprised. Let's go over to tip ranks. I wouldn't be surprised if we get some upward revisions. There we are. So given the growth numbers that they have and given the guidance that they've put out there for Palantir, look how recent these are. When we talk about those low prices that we have and where they're currently sitting. So tip ranks is only reporting on one, because there's only been one within the last 3 months. And they're also putting it at a 32% loss from where it currently sits. And so right now it's August. So if we go back 3 months ago, we are into May. And May is when we had that huge sell-off where the sell-off was peaking for tech and high growth, and just not a good story. So when you look at all these different prices that you have here, Palantir was way down there. So as a matter of fact, check it out. Right here, mid-May, they were right around that 17. They bottomed out at 17, and then $20 per share is up here. So depending on when those analyst estimates came in exactly, that would be dancing around that line. So I would not be surprised to get some new estimates coming out, some better coverage on Palantir to update what we see. And I highly believe that we're going to see ones that are going to put us into the mid-20s, maybe even up to maybe we'll return to that $30 price target for Palantir moving forward. All right, so we broke resistance. Excellent. If this thing does happen to make it up to 26, I wouldn't be surprised if it fails to break that next area of resistance. We've already gapped up. We've already broke the moving averages. We've already broke the resistance that we had at 24.41. As a matter of fact, that's around where we opened. So breaking the next one would just be incredible. And I don't know that we have that sort of momentum to break that today. I think over time is when we'll see that strength come in for Palantir. All right, DraftKings Sugar Daddy. Oh, man. Well, thank you, everyone, for participating in the comments, and thank you for watching. I really appreciate it. I'll be back tomorrow at 9:15. And remember, I always aim to end at 10 a.m. So if I do, I hope that you're not upset about it. And if you're upset, I hope that you at least understand. I went 30 minutes over this time, and I'm sure that my daughters are going to heckle me to no end because they hear me talk about going overtime all the time. If you want to keep supporting, hit the like button. It's completely free. So every video that comes up, if you really do like it, hit that like button. The referral links are there. If you want to help yourself out while also helping me out, you can check those out. And then if you want to join me over at the Patreon, you can do that as well. Get access to my dividend and growth portfolios that are over there, my private Discord that's over there, my weekly newsletter with the weekly watch list of stocks. Thank you guys. Have a great day, and we'll see you tomorrow.